So, as everybody knows, that we're going to be talking a little bit about the Snyder Cut that just got released over the weekend. With me, of course, is Snark. And, you know, going into this, I have a quick question for you. Did you know anything about the controversy surrounding the original cut versus the Snyder Cut? Did you know anything about that as far as the filming goes with the director's cut?
Actually, yeah. Like I know that. I know that Snyder left, and I don't know if if he quit or he got fired.
Okay.
I know that something very unfortunate happened in his family.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he had left the movie before that, or if that's the reason why he left.
Yeah, what happened was his daughter actually committed suicide, and to the loss of his daughter, he had to step away from doing the film. I think he did record some stuff, but then once Joss Whedon came in and everything, he went on ahead and got rid of everything that Zach had put together. So therefore, it was no longer the Snyder Cut. It was no longer Zach's movie. It was actually just a Joss Whedon film, and Joss tried to do everything that um basically what an Avengers movie would be like. And
Right.
it just didn't work. It just fell flat to me. I don't know if you saw the original Justice League movie on what the details of that movie was or anything like that.
I watched it on Sunday.
Oh, the original cut? Okay.
Yeah, the original cut I watched on Sunday. So I was thinking if I have to watch this other one or whatever, and I know there's differences between the two,
Okay.
I guess, right? So it's like, and it's twice as long or whatever the new one that comes out. So it's like, all right, I'll invest the 2 hours to watch Superman, right?
All right.
Yeah. So going in, I was I think I knew some stuff before, like when it came out or whatever. Like I knew that the Flash and stuff was in it. I knew Green Lantern wasn't in it for whatever reason. But yeah, that's all I could really remember going into the movie.
Right. And of course, like you mentioned before, the whole thing with Ray Fisher, with Joss Whedon and everything too, the controversy with that. And it's a shame because he's not the only one that complained about something that was done to him or anything like that. It was also on a Marvel set as well, the controversy surrounded with that. But when you look at the two movies in general, it's compared to from apples to oranges. And let me just say this. In the first 5 minutes of the Snyder Cut, it's a well balanced movie. It doesn't start off with Batman on the rooftop where he's and to me, I thought that was out of place with the whole entire first half of the film and things like that, where we actually have Batman on the rooftop and he's talking and things like that, and with these aliens coming in. Now, with the Snyder Cut, it took some great detail with this. You actually have story development, you actually have continuity within the universe itself. You actually understand where the mother boxes are going, what the mother boxes are set up for. You understand the story behind that. You actually have Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman, explaining the mythology behind it in Steppenwolf's background, and also too with Darkseid's background as well.
Right, because they don't talk about. Well, I think Darkseid is mentioned once, maybe in the Justice League, and then in the new cut or whatever. Of course, he's all over the place in it. And if they were following, like, I could see Joss Whedon's thinking or whatever, like with not showing Darkseid and stuff like that, because he's used to something that had built up for 5 or 6 movies. A big collaborative thing put together, and then knowing that this is going to go on, why shoot your shot with your big villain right away, right?
Right, let it build up.
Yeah, it'd be like if Galactus just showed up or whatever in the Avengers right at the beginning or whatever. It's like, oh, we gotta beat Galactus this time. And
exactly.
Then what do you do after that? But they do that with the Snyder Cut, which I didn't understand either. Like I understand Steppenwolf, and like it's great that Darkseid's there. Like as a kid watching Justice League of America, you know, when Darkseid got in there with the Legion of Doom stuff, all that. That's the kind of stuff those are the kind of Superman movies and stuff like that I miss. It's just them. It's, that has colors. Like I didn't understand. I understand wanting to go away from the Whedon cut and stuff like that. And actually the perspective that they put on there, like almost like an old TV style perspective, right? It's almost straight. I like that. That was one of my favorite parts about what they did.
You see, for me, I'm so used to widescreen now that the short screen, for me, I was like, okay, I gotta fix this. But I realized that the studios actually put a block on it to the point where I couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
So I had to watch it in that kind of format. But after you get into like the first couple of minutes or so, you actually you don't even notice it anymore or anything like that.
I had a hard time noticing it all. Like that's what I grew up with was 4 to 3 or whatever. So I figured that like it was going to be kind of like a throwback. I figured that's what he was going for. But I guess it's for taller shots or something like that. I heard,
right.
Like just so the poses that he can do, the poses that he can do look more grand. Because
it did feel like 90s, to be honest with you. It definitely did feel like a 90s look, which is something that I haven't seen in a long ass time, to be honest with you. And, it's just refreshing to see something like that into a 2021 realm, just to see how people are going to react to it because they're not used to it. They're like, what is that small screen there for? I haven't seen this before. Where's my widescreen shot? Where's,
I remember a time when it was a pain in the ass when you went to a Blockbuster and you got something that was in widescreen. I remember you wanted it to fit the TV before. And now, now that every TV that comes out and your computer monitor and all this crap, they're all widescreen, so everything fits that. But I remember specifically, like especially like comedy movies, because and ones that you'd seen on TV before, like growing up, I remember seeing the Blues Brothers on like Movie Channel here in Canada, right? And I now when I see it in widescreen, it just doesn't look the same, even though it looks better. But it's just not quite right for me.
Right, I can understand that. And it's been a while since we saw something in a widescreen format, and also too something that is looking like a 90s kind of visual where we only have that little short box. I mean, matter of fact, when I'm watching Cheers on Netflix or Hulu now, they actually have it in that little square box format and everything. It makes you feel like that you're watching something in the 90s. So I was actually kind of used to the fact that that this was actually going to be set up into like a smaller box. But still, overall, it definitely works for this kind of setup on what Zach is trying to bring us. He's trying to bring us some type of new flavor to this that we haven't seen before. But also too, with Joss's side of things, there was some corny dialogue with it. Zach went on ahead and cut some of that cheesy dialogue. Like,
should have.
I agree.
Freaking terrible. It sucked. One of the worst scenes in comic book movies is when they were fighting Steppenwolf, and there's all this dramatic music. And cut to Batman saying, "Oh, there's definitely something broken or whatever," and still the dramatic music. It's like this. Like, why did you shoehorn that in? You could have just had Batman say nothing, and it would have worked better.
Right. You can actually have Batman not say anything and have that dramatic effect, because 99% of acting is just staring and looking and make you visualize what that character is feeling. And for them to add dialogue to it, it will actually take you out of the film that way. For me, the Arthur Curry scene in the Joss Whedon version, he goes, "Arthur Curry, I heard you talk to fish." In the Zack Snyder cut, they got rid of that and everything.
They added some shit to that though too. Like they added some shit to that. Like the one thing I do like better is they go follow him down to the water, and he jumps in and he's off like a torpedo, right? And in this one, he leaves, and then there's all these people that show up and start singing like God or whatever. It's like, what for? It's like a minute ago, you were treating him like he was your drinking buddy, and then the ladies come down. Oh.
That part I didn't understand either. I understand they were trying to go for each character has their own theme song, if you actually look at it like that.
Right.
But it seemed like it was something from like Lord of the Rings, if you think about it, where you have Arthur Curry going into the ocean. And I like the fact that they actually took their time to actually let him go back into the ocean and stuff like that, rather than go, okay, bye, and jump right on in. But the whole entire scene with them singing takes me out of it.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, why are they doing this? Because I think they're actually speaking Dothraki or singing Dothraki, I think from Game of Thrones. And I think that the language that they used was actually Dothraki, if I'm not mistaken.
Really, they weren't speaking Icelandic?
I think so, because it would actually make kind of sense for Atlanteans to probably do some type of fantasy type of thing to do it, but
yeah,
I just feel like that was one thing that I was taken off a little bit whenever they had their own theme song. Yeah.
They bring back that kind of choral thing or whatever for Wonder Woman at that one point when she's standing on top of that statue, and in the Joss Whedon one, it has her theme going, and I think that was some of the best music they had in that whole
definitely
movie. It was when they bring back Wonder Woman's theme for a minute.
I love Wonder Woman's theme, to be honest with you. And I'm not just saying that because I have the poster in the background, but I love Wonder Woman's theme song. I like the slow build to it. And then once you get that fast-paced music, you feel amped up. You feel like you're energized. You feel like that you're actually part of Wonder Woman taking down these criminals and everything else. So it actually works for her theme song.
Yeah.
Cyborg's theme song is a little bit different.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't notice that one as much. I guess because, like, Cyborg should have had his own movie before this. Like, and growing up, Cyborg was never a member of the Justice League. He was a Teen Titan when I was a kid, right? So, and considering like some of the guys that you left out, like could have had Green Lantern in there, like hopefully like a John Stewart Green Lantern. Or Hawkman isn't in there. There's a bunch of old school guys. Like I figured that they, if they were going to have Cyborg, they'd have it out. That Cyborg would have his own movie and then like become with Teen Titans and stuff like that. Especially at the end when they start just throwing shit at the walls to see what sticks.
But is there anything that Justice League did better than the Snyder Cut?
Well, the music, I like the music better from the first one. I just like that bringing back the old themes and stuff like that. The lighting, like like the Snyder Cut is so dark. It's like we get it, it's supposed to like, especially the post-apocalyptic nightmare scenes. Just like they go out to Kansas and it's cloudy and gray. Everything's cloudy and gray. Like now I'm in the Snyderverse. You know what I mean? Like I like it's a comic book. It's still a comic book. Like everybody wants grittier. Everyone wants grittier comics, like comic book movies and stuff, and that's fine. Not me. I like color. If there was some comics you could get that were just like pencil in black and white comics and stuff like that when I was a kid, and lots of people like them, and lots of people love anti-heroes and stuff like that, and anti-heroes are great, like Deadpool, all those kind of things are great. But you need to balance them out with actual good guys that are good guys, like Superman wanting to kill the Justice League again. Batman with his guns and stuff like that. Those are the kind of things that like I could have done without in these movies, but I know I'm a very small percentage of people that are for that or whatever. Like a happy-go-lucky Justice League.
You see, for me, I thought that the stuff in the Justice League original film with the original theme songs actually took me out of it. Like I was excited to hear it whenever I bought the soundtrack. But once I saw how it was layered out with the action sequences, the way it was actually presented to me, it took me out of the movie and everything, to be honest, for a little bit, because of the fact I'm like, okay, I understand what they're going for, the nostalgia factor. I appreciate the fact that they went and put in the original Superman score along with the original Batman score. I can appreciate that, but at the same time, it also took me out of that film. Another thing too is Superman losing his memory. I feel like that needed to be played out because the only person he remembered was Lois, and Lois was the actual key to actually helping him remember who he was and everything too. So I
Right.
feel like that both of those cuts actually needed to have it in there. But I do have to say that maybe the scene with Batman is actually telling he falls on the ground on the original Justice League and he's doing some type of cheesy line, making it comical. I'm like, okay, this does not work for Batman. This does not work.
Which is a total Whedon thing too, right? Like my favorite television show of all time is Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and it's not close. I fucking love that show. So you know, I expect these little puns. Like Avengers had great bits in it. Age of Ultron, not so much, but Avengers was great. Avengers was what like it was a superhero movie done by a guy who knows superheroes because Buffy's a superhero, right?
Right.
And then you figure he goes on to this, and he takes like there's a lot of Snyder stuff in his. So he has to do that doom and gloom, and then he peppers it with his kind of his just one-liner shit, and that just doesn't work. Like I don't know what they were thinking. It's two movies, so like if you're gonna scrap so much, especially since you know so much of it is done in green screen or whatever for Snyder, how much would it have cost just to have gone to basics or whatever and say we can just write the whole damn thing and delay it a year, or start putting out these other movies because none of the stuff that they do in the Justice League is earned. You know what I mean? Like there's like Flash. I wasn't a fan of Flash. This Flash or whatever, Ezra Miller's Flash.
I know a lot of people that feel that way. To be honest with them,
it's you know. And then, like in the new one, they kind of shoehorn Iris in for a second. It's so important to the Flash story. It's like you know who it is. Like they don't have to explain who it is and stuff like that. Oh yeah, this is another thing. What I was thinking. So okay, these poor people in Capital City and Gotham City and all that stuff. They have to deal with superheroes fighting supervillains all the time. It's got to be like the number one killer of people over there is superheroes, right? Being
right.
reckless. The second most careless driving. Like she should have been dead if Flash wasn't next door or whatever. She should have been dead because she was like da 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 da.
Just
and this car and if the hot dog cart goes, all right, should have been dead. And then poor Victor Stone's mom. She's like talking to him again, highway, like direct over like this. Victor, your dad loves you. Don't worry about it. Car coming, no problem. Dead. Him ripped to pieces. So yeah, superheroes endangering lives and reckless driving. The two leading causes of death in superhero town.
That's true. There is a lot of careless driving in certain aspects of the film when we look at it from that context and things like that. For me, I like the scene where she's driving away and then she's not looking. And also too, I would have to say that, you already actually have to expect that the mother is going to wind up dying. Victor's mom's gonna die anyways, and you also have the feeling too, like when she's looking like this talking to Victor, you already know that she's gonna get hit by a car. It's it's in every single movie just about, dark sides in the car, watch out.
I'm thinking everybody who lives in those towns has a 50-50 chance of making it to wherever they're going.
Right. I think everybody on that list over there in that town is basically Final Destination if you think about it.
Oh, you're right.
But
it may, you know what, and it may be that it is, and having Flash just keeps running back and stuff like that's half his job. Oh, okay. So here's another thing with the Snyder cut. Like there was some of this in in Whedon's Justice League, but more so in the Snyder, way more so. And it's just posing, like the superheroes posing. You know,
yeah.
Like after, like when they're about to do something, or like Aquaman at the rocks and the water splashes him and stuff like that. And Jesus Christ, Superman, like this of the world, all that stuff. One of my least favorite things I've ever seen in a comic book movie happens in this one when, and it's in both. So I guess it was Snyder that filmed it, and they figured, oh, we're keeping this. And it's just a simple thing of Commissioner Gordon hits the bat signal, and they all come running and stuff like that, right? It's like, oh, let's go check out the bat signal. So they show up, and like Wonder Woman arrives, and Flash zips in and stuff, and then here comes friggin' Batman, and he's just to the left of Wonder Woman, and he turns the corner and does a jump, and like, and they kept it both.
But it just goes to show you, without superpowers, all he can do is glide and get there last and act like that he's a badass whenever he does that. Because everybody knows who he is. He doesn't have to do that. But
by the way, guys, I'm Batman now.
I'm Batman. But no, I do feel like this, though, with the lighting that you mentioned. Yeah. I'm just going to backtrack for one little small thing. I felt like the lighting for Snyder Cut was actually good because I felt like an apocalyptic kind of feel to it that I liked, because it actually sets the tone for kind of like an end of days kind of thing going on with the world. And I feel like that actually needed to be added in there because they don't know if they're going to make this thing out alive or not. So I definitely love that aspect to it. Another thing that I wanted to mention was something else that you had brought up too, that, and I wanted to ask you this, like, what do you think about some of the other tones that they actually put into it versus the Justice League?
Like having more to do with Cyborg?
Darkseid, basically.
Darkseid?
Yeah.
Darkseid was good. Like, I like growing up, like, I love Darkseid. I'm glad I got to see a movie that had Darkseid in it. I'm glad I got to see bits where he'd be shooting his lasers and they'd be doing the 70s style, zigzagging and stuff like that, like Tron bikes and stuff, right?
Right.
When I saw that, I genuinely marked out. I was like, oh shit, they got the lasers. I was pretty excited. But again, like, I just feel like it had, like, nothing about it was earned. There was nothing building up to it. You know what I mean?
Right. But what would you say is the best redeemable characters for most of the North? It happens to be Steppenwolf. He's so much more fleshed out. That I do have to agree.
Well, just showing that he's like one of Darkseid's bitches, and Darkseid never wavered off that, not 1 second. Not while he was trying to, like, he's destroyed tens of thousands of worlds and stuff for him, and he's still just a lapdog for Darkseid at his feet, and that's how he ends up at the end of the movie, under his foot.
Yep.
Like you feel bad for him, and like the actor who played him, Kieran Hines, is a great actor, and I wish they would have shown a little bit more him and stuff like that. Like, I figured I like Steppenwolf in the first movie just because I like the costume is more comic booky, I guess. Like the new one may be a little more accurate.
All right, I have to step in. Did you just say yes, this is a Tamika moment without being Tamika. Did you just say you liked his costume better? Are you serious, Snark?
Yeah, well, the other one's just moving all the time. It's like, I get it. Yeah,
it's a living armor. How can you prefer Steppenwolf from the first movie? He's in existence. He's just there to move on the plot. At least this one, he had I don't know,
a purpose.
Your purpose. You can understand why he was there. It's sad he is Steppenwolf's Darkseid's bitch, right? but you do see his evolution on why he wants to prove, and there's moments you see like in his eyes, right, like puppy dog eyes, like they're hurt. In the other one, he's just I'm bad, smash, smash.
Right.
That's anyways. I just had to bitch on you because you said you liked his character. Again, I'm off. You're nuts, bro.
Well, like Steppenwolf in the first one is the big bad for the show, right?
Right.
This one, it's a guy that the guys never even interact with, except for a boom tube at the very end of the thing.
Let's see. Jay Wade says, "For me, the voice didn't match Steppenwolf very well."
Yeah.
For me, I thought it worked out pretty well. I definitely loved this version of Steppenwolf versus the Justice League one. I feel like the motivation was a lot better, like Frenchie mentioned. I thought that you gave him some type of range to where you can actually feel something for him because he actually wants to prove himself to Darkseid. Mm-hmm. I thought that was really well done. Then also, too, you can tell, though, that he wants to actually be part of Darkseid's crew. He wants to be looked up on and everything, and everybody just frowns upon him. He's the underdog of the Bad World community, pretty much, if you think about it. But I definitely love the motivation.
In the comics, isn't Steppenwolf like the son of Darkseid, or is that who he is in? Like, I'm having a hard time remembering comic books from 30 years ago for whatever.
I believe he's actually the son of Darkseid, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Because I remember doing some research for it back in 2016 because I was actually having a hard time placing Darkseid and also to Steppenwolf. Mm-hmm. And so I had to do some research on it, but I believe he is in fact his son, if I'm not mistaken. But if I am, it won't be the first time that I'm wrong about something. But but let's see here. Another thing too is you were talking about how they were just standing around and just basically modeling.
Right.
Get this. Okay, the part where the aircraft carrier comes in after they get done kicking Steppenwolf's ass and everything, and they're just standing there. And the trailer itself, it made it look like that they're about to jump onto Darkseid's ship.
Right.
And they're just standing there. And they're just standing there just to go back home. I'm like, okay, that was such a letdown. I was expecting more.
In the original Justice League movie, they're just looking over the town or whatever because the ship isn't there, or the transport ship or whatever, the bat plane or whatever they're going to call it. But yeah, even in that scene, so in that scene, there's a scene where Flash and Cyborg give each other a fist bump. And like Flash is turned way over like this, and his arm out to the side like this, and Cyborg is
like it's like an awkward.
It's one of those fist bumps that grazes, like one grazes like a pinky finger, something like that.
Right. It did feel kind of awkward a little bit, looking at it from that context. It's like, okay, it was almost there.
And in slow motion. It's in slow motion. Like, okay, so this movie is 4 hours and 3 minutes long, right? That's a fucking long movie. How much of it is slow motion, though? If they would have done this thing in regular motion, this is a 2.5 hour movie. This movie gets done quick. But everything's in slow motion. Anytime that Lois Lane walks anywhere without Superman, it's in slow motion. Anytime anyone's just looking up at the sky for whatever reason, it's in slow motion. Pose time, which is half the movie, all in slow motion. I didn't get it. I don't understand. I know that's a thing he's always been doing and stuff like that with 300 and all those things. I don't remember it from Dawn of the Dead, but
are you gonna complain the whole time, bro? This movie with Snark was amazing.
Because we haven't talked very much about Cyborg, and Cyborg was fucking awesome. Yes. He was the best part of the movie. Of course, I have a little complaint about him. It's just the whenever they do a suit like a robotic suit, right? Like be it Transformers or whatever, they always have that weird kind of metal where it looks like it's just like a can crumpled up and stuff like that. And they did that for Cyborg here. Well, just growing up, and like, how many chances are you going to get to see a live action Cyborg? I wanted us to see it a little cleaner. They do that in the original Justice League movie at the end with that scene with his dad or whatever, which his dad doesn't make it through this one. Everybody kind of shrugs about that. Like Cyborg, if I was Cyborg, I would have said to the Flashes, it's like, you want to go back about 45 more minutes and pull my dad out of that cube thing before he gets incinerated and stuff like that. That'd be cool. And everybody else or whatever, I don't think anybody goes and consoles him about his dad. It's like, well.
Right. Nobody, except for maybe Flash, tries to do it and everything, but at the same time, I think Aquaman winds up saying he needs a little bit more time to himself. Also, too, most of the North says, well, 2 times if you count Doom Patrol and everything that they gave him some light.
Yeah, it's the same thing with like Flash and all those guys. And if you go back to Smallville, I'm sure there's stuff like that too. But I'm talking like on a big screen,
right?
Like when you like before Justice League, who would have thought Cyborg would ever be on the big screen and stuff like that? Like especially when you knew Teen Titans and stuff like that were coming out on a show. Like there he is, he's going to be in Teen Titans.
Exactly, because. And this one, I felt like he wasn't in the shadows. I felt like he was up front and center versus the Justice League movie. Because if you look at the other cut that they had out for Joss Whedon, it seemed like he was more in the background. Nobody really gave him any type of light into his character that much. Didn't give him a story arc or anything like that. He was just there for the paycheck, kind of. With this one, Zach gave him layers. He gave him ways to actually go about things and things like that. He gave him more things to do. It makes you understand his character for who he is. I definitely love when he's giving this one woman who's just down on her luck the money, hacking into the system to give the woman the money and everything, and just doing little small superhero stuff just to help her. I really love those moments.
Like everything, like him just choosing, like I'm gonna be like he's basically a god and can do whatever he wants. And just choosing to be a good guy, especially with all this shit happening to him and him feeling so down or whatever, is a good thing for him. I thought it was weird that woman just got excited because that bank says they won the special bank prize of $100,000.
My complaint, though, has been Mopey Affleck. Now we see him in both versions. His Batman and Bruce really does not click with me.
No,
what about you?
I think he'd be a real good Bruce Wayne in a different movie. You know what I mean? If they would have done like Killing Joke or something like that, where explaining like how Jason Todd gets killed by Joker, that would have been fine and stuff like that. But him talking like Batman, or when he has his cowl off. And he's around the other guys. I never understood that too. And I think that was more from the original Justice League, where it was 2 different. It almost looks like 2 different Bruce Waynes and stuff like that when Batman's around. They sure kept taking his cowl off all the time. And half the time you talk like Bruce Wayne, the other time you would talk like Batman or whatever it is, right? So I'm at the end of Snyder Cut. I guess they had brought him in for the reshoots or something like that with Martha Manhunter.
Martian Manhunter. Yeah.
Oh no, it's now Martha Manhunter.
Because the little cameo thing between Lois and Martha.
Yeah, I didn't understand why they had to put Martian Manhunter there when they could have done other things. Like they could have had Martian Manhunter as Commissioner Gordon or something like that. But I really marked out when I saw that was Martian Manhunter. I'm a huge fan of John Jones and stuff like that. So I was pretty excited about Martian Manhunter being there. So then I expected all the other guys like in the fight scene in the Snyder cut version. Just so much better than the Whedon version.
Is the cow material gave Batman throat cancer, hence why he's always growling. True fact.
That's probably smoking, Frenchie. That is probably smoking. So, now I totally forgot where I was going. But
you were talking about when they were fighting and stuff like that in the Snyder cut.
Oh, that it was just so much better and stuff like that. Like having Darkseid there was great. And like having like Steppenwolf fight Ares and Zeus didn't make any sense in the first one. It's like they would just rip this guy apart. Like this should not have happened. This shouldn't have happened where it was close. So it makes more sense with Darkseid or whatever taking a like, axe from Ares of all people, Ares saving the world for a minute, and then getting out of there. It didn't make any sense while Darkseid just forgot the one planet to defeat him, and where
right.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that, to be honest with you. Some of the other things I want to mention is this. I thought, here's the thing. I like Ben as Bruce Wayne and Batman. I thought he was really good with those roles. Another thing too is the Martha Well, now I'm saying Martha Manhunt. But anyways, with the Martian Manhunter cameo, I thought it was well put together, to be honest with you. I felt like it was a great introduction into his character, trying to give Lois some hope to actually go back to work and everything.
Another character that's just good. Like Martian Manhunter is just good. He isn't any kind of anti-hero or anything like that. He's just a good, solid dude.
Exactly. And I thought they actually have a good actor playing him as well. Even the very end, whenever you see him, what do you think about them adding the anti-life equation into the storyline? I found it led to nowhere.
The only thing it did was allow him to do that huge nightmare scene. Like the anti-life to convince Superman or whatever that everything is shit or whatever, and everybody's against him, right? So
yeah, the anti-equation thing for me, it was just for the dream sequence. If it wasn't for that, there wouldn't be any other thing. To be honest with you,
what did you think of the nightmare sequence at the end? Like, the reason why I didn't see Justice League is because I was not a fan of Batman v Superman. I'd seen every other Superman movie in the theaters, including the original Superman, which is still my favorite superhero movie. All the Batman movies, even the crappy Joel Schumacher ones. I've seen all those ones in the theater. So I was so excited about Batman versus Superman. Again, thinking, I don't understand how this is earned yet or whatever, just having, Batman's just going to attack Superman and stuff like that. But it's just the way that they decided to, we got to bring them together somehow. I know. Each of their mother's name is Martha. What? All right. It's like, you're going to kill the entire earth. My mom's name is friggin' Martha.
But okay, the first question that you had asked me was, what did I think about the dream sequence? And after that, I'll go into the other stuff.
Yeah.
But for me, the dream sequence for me worked because of the fact I feel like that Snyder was going to go into the Justice League, not onto another Justice League movie, which is probably Injustice, with that plot line. Because number one, Lois Lane is pregnant, and we see a pregnancy test inside the drawer. Some people are speculating that it's Batman's baby, but I'm like, no. I can't see him getting her pregnant, especially after the events of Batman versus Superman, and he wants to make it better, make everything better again. But I'm thinking too that it's Superman's baby, and in Justice, what happens is she winds up being pregnant. Joker winds up killing her and the unborn baby, and then after that happens, that's when Superman kills Joker for killing Lois, and that's when we have her Injustice, and I think that's what it was getting ready to set up. I definitely love the dialogue with the Joker. I thought that was really good, where he's wanting to throw in a truce, and then also too, because which one died worse, the woman or the kid? Yeah. Sending a kid in to do a man's job, and I'm like, I'm like, okay.
Were you a fan of, like, I didn't watch the Suicide Squad movie. Did you enjoy Leto as Joker in that one?
I liked him as Joker, but here's the thing. We didn't get enough of him for me to actually say he's the best Joker, because really, they didn't give him enough screen time to actually go on that caliber. But with this, though, they got rid of the grills. They got rid of the tattoos. they made him really grungy looking, kind of like a Heath Ledger type of Joker, mixed him with his own version of Joker, and it works.
Mm-hmm.
I really have to say I liked this version that Zach has. I'm hoping that they go with this version going into other films because this is the one that fans want. This is the one that everybody wants. This is the one that I want versus what we got in the air cut. Frenchie says Wonder Woman is the only one for me that had no difference. She was good in Justice League and good in Snyder, so it didn't change for me.
Yeah. Yep. No, and that's good. Like she was probably the best part of Justice League for me. She's a great part in this. Like I'm a big Wonder Woman fan. Even like the first movie or whatever, I like way more than the second one. Obviously, for Wonder Woman, like Wonder Woman '84, it's all right. But Wonder,
Right.
I enjoyed. I like legit enjoyed Wonder Woman. And it was from the Justice League, or sorry, Batman v Superman or whatever, when she shows up and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, this girl's.
There is something I wanted to ask you though. What did you think of the bank robbery scene with Wonder Woman in the Snyder Cut, where she's over there just dominating everybody? Huh?
With the terrorists there or whatever.
Yeah.
They have it reminded me a little bit of the Dark Knight, right? When they were rolling up or whatever, and then that guy just shoots him. Who are they working for?
I think it's just some terrorist that had no affiliation with anything, to be honest with you. I think it was just maybe a bank robber that they just wanted to put there just for the soul of having her try and save the day, showing where Wonder Woman's at in her life.
Right. It's just another thing that isn't earned. You know what I mean? It's like, we're gonna level 4 city blocks, you say. It's like, okay, why? Like I figured these guys were working for somebody. Like if they would have tied it in, like that's how like the distraction that got Luther out or something like that. You know what I mean?
Right. Or Falcone from Batman. Maybe he's working for Falcone or something like that, having some type of connectivity with that.
Sure.
But I'm thinking it's just some random bank robber and just there for filler to actually motivate us to show us where Diana's at in her life. But that's just the way I look at it.
Terrorists, though, like, they didn't go in there to rob the bank. They came in there was a huge bomb, and they're like, guys, we're doing this, we're blowing this up. And I don't know if it's more in Justice League or more in the Snyder Cut that you see of them. I know there's a better scene in like where her blowing up the briefcase is way better in the Snyder Cut. Like that scene of her jumping through the roof and throwing the briefcase was cooler than just throwing the briefcase. Right.
I thought, to be honest with you, the briefcase scene with her jumping like she was wearing a pair of let me think of what's those shoes that back in the 90s with the pump up shoes.
Oh, Reebok pumps?
Yeah. I was like, all I can think of is, okay, I got to air up my boots before I jump up really high.
Yeah.
But I feel like I understand where they were going with it, but I feel like with her super strength itself, she didn't have to leap up that high to throw it. I think that she could have just thrown it up in the air and everything, and it went way above.
It's almost like Zack Snyder likes taking poses and making them great big, like posters.
Okay, if I can jump in here, I can explain you exactly why they had to show the scene, her jumping super high. It's just an excuse to have an underskirt shot. That's it.
Yeah,
that makes sense. It worked in her favor, though.
Because it's Gal Gadot. So, yeah. No.
I can agree with that. I can testify to that. Not complaining with that.
We're all perverts.
Well, this is coming from a Frenchman, eh?
Right? Getting it from all angles. Okay. So, let's see here. I know that we're going to be wrapping up soon. Is there any other thoughts that you want to put into the Snyder Cut versus Justice League?
I don't see the point of having done it. Especially, I heard that they're not going to do sequels of it. They're going to spend another $70 million so people can watch it for free. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't understand. I don't understand all these people complaining so much or whatever that we had to have this instead. Here comes Frenchie. Frenchie was one of the guys who was writing stuff like that, but he was writing it all in French.
You're making me come out of my temporary retirement just to contradict you right now. How dare you? How dare you, Snark? You have a reputation in Let's Get Ready. Yeah, there's a couple of people saying you're like the ultimate Canadian villain, and I'm starting to agree. How dare you shit on Snyder Cut? I understand completely why it got made because Justice League was not his vision. It was not what the fans wanted, and it was bullshit. Everything felt forced. Thank God you took out the family, the European family. That made no sense. There's a lot of superficial things that were not needed and just put in just to be put in the original one. This one felt like an epic movie with fleshed out characters. 4 hours, is it long? Yes. Did it have to be made? Yes. Was it the best movie of the year so far? Yes. So shush.
To be fair, on his final point, is this the best movie of the year so far? It's like I don't know. I don't know any other movies that came out this year. So he's technically right. It's like he won the one-man race.
But did Joker work for you though overall? Because I know Jay Wade said that it didn't work for him.
No, it didn't. It didn't work for me. Batman swearing and stuff like that. All these little things to make it edgy or whatever didn't work. I thought it was cool seeing Flash with the heat shield or whatever on there. That was good. I thought the part that they shoehorned in again with the Deadshot at the end or whatever and stuff like that. It's like, well, what? You guys have introduced, the biggest bad in DC Comics. You guys have introduced Darkseid. It's like, why would you throw in Deadshot now? I don't understand that. Like if they were gonna do that Batman movie and stuff like that, like I have no problem. Yeah, I have no problem with them showing up at the beginning of that or something like that. It's like, let Darkseid have his goddamn moment.
Yeah, Deathstroke, you mean?
Sorry, Deathstroke, not Deathstroke. Yeah,
because here's the thing: I wanted that Batman versus Deathstroke thing happen so badly. Yeah. Because if you look at them, they're tall. The reach is uncanny. It would have been a great battle between the both of them.
Yep.
To be honest with you. Let's see, Smells of the North, the Joker laugh was horrible in Snyder Cut. Now that I do have to admit, if they didn't have to do the Joker laugh, they could have just done the dialogue and it would have just worked perfect. I think Jared needs to work on his Joker laugh a little bit more for me to actually be sold on the laugh itself. But as for the look, as for the acting itself, I liked the Joker though.
How long did they do the reshoots for? Do you have any idea like that? Like, was it just a matter of like, we got this afternoon to do this, guys, and stuff like that? So, you just got
about 3 or 4 months worth of shots. They did. Because that's how bad the other cut was, the Joss Whedon cut was. Also, too, me as a fan, I've been wanting a Snyder cut for a long time because I wanted to be told in the right way with better fleshed out stories and stuff like that, like Frenchie had mentioned, and things like that. So I was a big supportive whenever it came down to that.
Would you be a fan of them? Okay, we're not going to be doing Justice League spin-offs or whatever, like they're saying. Would you be a fan of them doing just like specific movies from guys? Like, would you like to see Cyborg team up with Green Lantern or something like that? Those kind of movies that could stand alone, not have a connectivity, like not trying to steal anything from an MCU Thunder. Like these guys have the oldest and most well-established characters in comics. I don't understand why they haven't been trying to they can make smaller films, just more of them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Especially when they have the technology that you have now where they can throw up green screens. They don't have to go to all these locations. It's like, why don't you put together Hawkman and Hawkgirl, or why don't you get Zatanna out there?
Yes.
somebody, Zatanna and Wonder Woman or something like that. Just
doing in Justice League. Right? Yes, but yeah, I totally agree with you, Schmoes, and everything too, because I feel like that's that's actually what Snyder was going for, was an Injustice movie. And for the WB studios, they're always reactionary when it comes down to certain things. The time when they decide not to be reactionary, like today when they made the announcement that they weren't going to do anymore, was the time that they needed to be reactionary, because the fans called for a Snyder's cut. We loved the Snyder's cut. It was everything that we ever wanted from Snyder. And then you're going to tell us, oh, we're not going to do one now. To me, they need to do one. They need to capitalize on what they did with this cut and make it, they can always do a director's cut for the Blu-ray or whatever for an Injustice movie. They don't have to make it 4 hours long, but they can still do it with all the reaction from the public. Yep. Gonna make. I hope so, man. I really hope that they actually do make something with the general public being positive as it is now. It feels like there's no more division among DC fans of them now because of Snyder doing this. But as far as Suicide Squad goes and everything, it had its problems. It just wasn't for me. Let's see. Okay, so
I enjoyed the Snyder cut. It was like, if you're going to compare the two, it was leagues better. It's way better. I'm just still waiting for that great DC movie. Like, this one wasn't great. Still the one that's closest for me is Wonder Woman. They have to get somewhere on the level of Wonder Woman for me. They just need more heart. I don't know what it is to it or whatever. There's got to be a magic solution, seeing how long these characters and these books have been around for, that they can figure out how to do something right. And I hope they get to do it. Like I don't want it to end there. There's some changes and stuff like that have to be made, but I hope they get to do something better, and something that could build off of this, but still regain some heart that the Justice League is supposed to have. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly. For me, I really love the this part of the Snyder cut. There was everything. It was like Christmas Day for me, watching that Snyder cut, 4 hours long and everything. It took me 2 days to try and watch it, but it was well put together. It's something that I would actually recommend versus watching the Joss Whedon cut, but that's just me. But that's pretty much all the points that I want to actually make as which one I would choose. Snyder cut all the way.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's no question. If you had a choice or whatever, take a little bit of extra time or take it in doses. Like you can do the chapter thing now, but everyone watches it at home. It's not like going to a movie theater, so you can hit exit on it and pick up at the exact same spot you want to next time, right? Just they do it in a way now that you can break it up into chapters yourself. It's like binging a series and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I really love the movie, and I'm just here just to piss off Snark. Go Minnesota Wild.
Fucking guy. Unfucking believable. Well, at least I don't have to see them this year. And he didn't even get the North Stars one too. The North Stars one wouldn't be so bad. And smokers are jokers. Did anyone tell you that? Oh my god, what is he doing with that thing? How could this be on YouTube? We're gonna get one of those. Oh my, what the? We're gonna get one of those things, eh? It's like NC-17 for this guy. Oh, well. That's fine. There goes our sponsorship, our Warner Brothers sponsorship.
So, with that being said, I think that's gonna be it as far as us talking about the Snyder Cut versus the Justice League stuff. So, okay. So, as far as where people can follow you at and everything, where can people follow you?
You can follow me at I think Twitter it's at Snark Yeti. I'm rarely on that. I have a Facebook? I have a Facebook. It's under my God-given name, Snark Kent. And what else? I've got Instagram at Snark1974 that I never use. And you can find me here at Snark's Midlife Crisis, and it's supposed to happen every 3 weeks or so, every 3-4 weeks. It has something terrible happen, and so we weren't able to do it last week, but hopefully we'll get on a more regular schedule. And there are whispers that I may be showing up with the Schmoes of the North come this Friday after a certain pay-per-view, but I'm not sure about that yet.
Okay. So everybody, if you guys want to follow me and everything, just go on ahead, head over to Movie Lovers Unite on Facebook underneath the same brand, Movie Lovers TV Lovers Unite over there. On Instagram at Movie Lovers TV Lovers Unite over there. And then, of course, on Twitter at Movie Lovers Unit, on Stereo, Movie Lovers Unit, and then at John DeGorioid on Twitter. And then you can follow us on our news page and everything at www.movieloversunite.com for all your entertainment needs and wants. And that's everything that you need to know where you can follow me at.
Thanks a lot for showing up, and thanks for filling in for Frenchie. It was a pleasure looking at a different face for a while. And Tamika, I hope to see you back next time as well.
And thank you for having me on. It's been a pleasure.